Okay, violets, yes. So we have a lot of native violets. They come everywhere. The sagebrush violet is just exactly what it means. It grows out in the shrub steppe, and you can find it. It's this particular picture was taken on a lower Table Mountain in May, and it blooms pretty much all spring, March through May. And it's locally common in Washington and Oregon on our side of the mountains. And the yellow prairie violet vines here, they are called nectar guides. I didn't know that until I was reading something about this little violet. And it grows throughout the sagebrush steppe and up into the open forest as well. And then the marsh violet in the seepages and marshes in the area, we have them here. They just arrived in my yard on their very own, and I was very happy to greet them and let them stay. These violets, they're very, very easy from seed. They bloom all next year. Just gather the seeds when the flower heads are dried, and you'll everywhere. My husband has mows them because they grow on the lawn now. So we've moved on now into the sagebrush ecosystem. They also call it the Columbia Plateau ecoregion, just depends upon which research manuals you're all reading. So I've used these words interchangeably because it all seems to fit. The sagebrush is a very unique biodiversity, and it is the most imperiled ecosystem that we have. It's damaged from crop conversion to conversion to croplands, to grazing, construction, and all of the above. There are several species of birds and critters that the sagebrush for their life. It has a sturdy taproot, so it does come back after a wildfire. Even though you see all of the sagebrush burned to the ground, that taproot is going to be all right. So that was good to know. Your blue-eyed grassly, Washington is the edge of it's more in Idaho, eastern Washington, and in our county, we're kind of at the edge of its range. But it's also considered threatened in Washington. And I suppose why? It's a grass, and the only time it only blooms in the spring. So who would know if you didn't already know that it was a flower, not just grass. So it's a threatened plant. And the sticky geranium, that is everywhere. It's the native here. I like it at a distance myself, but there are people that love it. Everyone, and that's why I brought it here. Is because I don't know what it is about this geranium, but some people hate it and some people love it. I've never really had anybody say, oh, I don't know. But anyway, and then the onions. Oh my goodness. We're very fortunate as master gardeners. We have a class at the university with Dr. Robeson, the botanist there, and she loves us, and she takes us out. She first takes us into the laboratory and makes us aware of all these plants clear, and then we come out and we do some hiking. And she took us out by Vantage. Then we pulled off the road, and we were going into a mound just about like this one in the sagebrush picture, and we just went right over a little ridge, and oh my word, the onions. It was a field of onions. It was just one humongous, massive field of pink flowers. I couldn't believe it. And we got those things all around here. We have to get out of our cars because they don't hang around at the road edge. Anyway, so I'm going to talk about grasses in the landscape, but the first thing I'll tell you that is grasses for, or they do spread. The Indian rice grass, it's a very nutritious grass. Basically, it was used by the Indians as a staple, and the sound is beautiful when the wind goes through it. But that's how it spreads, by seed. So if you want grass in the back 40, no, that's where you want it, not in your flower beds. And your foxtail barley is very, very common throughout eastern side of the Cascades. It's let's see, it's pretty much indigenous to all of western north. And the blue stem, it's used a lot in erosion control. And this one here is a blaze. It changes color. I didn't really get the darkest colors in it in this picture, but it does change into an orange as it gets in the fall, and then comes back in the green, and then in the spring. So it changes colors. And then I have to mention your blue bunch wheatgrass, because it's the state grass. It doesn't grow on the west side of the mountains, but it grows over here. So, and that's what they decided to call the state grass. So, let me check my time. Okay. So natives can certainly in a wide range of microclimates. Now this over here on the left is the serviceberry, and it's such a useful plant. Again, hard to transplant, but I managed to get 3 in pots from last fall, and they've come up this spring. So I'm going to have babies to give away. But you can see here's the serviceberry that's been pruned and fussed over and made part of the landscape. Over here on the right is one that's probably incorporated in a sprinkler system and has gotten just a whole lot of water, and really a heavy shrub. And then here it is in its natural habitat out in the wild, kind of a loose shrub, but it's very versatile. And the bees love it, and the berries. I have a recipe if anybody wants it. I have a recipe for serviceberry pie. I won't bother people that don't want it, but let me know and I'll share it with you. And then over here, Pacific 9-bark. It's native to North America. We find it occasionally on our side of the mountains, but more so on the west side. But I just wanted, because you can buy it at all the nurseries, I just wanted you to be aware it's a member of the rose family. There's a lot of things in the rose family, or blackberries and raspberries are part of the rose family too. The picture I have here is of the dark colored leaves. They also have the green leafed version as well, and they're very, very hardy once established, and a lot of people have incorporated them, and not even knowing that they've incorporated a native into their yard. They get to be about 10 to 15 feet tall max, tolerate sun or shade. Wet ice, that's why everybody likes them so well. Open forests, along creeks, and have to tell you though, good browse for wildlife. So if you have to fight the deer, what can I say? The cushion phlox. We've talked about cushion phlox clear up on the alpine reason, because it was low to the ground and could tolerate. Well, here's another phlox that's clear down in the into the desert, and if you can control it. Here it is in the garden, and there it is out in the wild. And it's a wonderful plant. It's a spreader, and it's enough about it. I think everybody should have at least 2 or 3 of those.